Hey everybody, so today's Sefer Hamitzvot, we're up to day number 5, and we're actually beginning the mitzvahs. So these are huge, fundamental, kind of taking it from the top. First, we're going to do positive commandment 1. So basically when Rambam writes out the mitzvahs, there's positive commandment 1, 2, 3, 4 through 248, and negative commandments 1, 2, 3 through 365. So today we're doing positive commandment 1, negative commandment 1, and positive commandment 2. What are they? The first commandment is, He had tzivoy shenistavinu lahamin belikus, which means to believe in God. That is a mitzvah from the Torah. The pasuk that this is based on, the verse is, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, right? This is the beginning of the 10 Commandments, of the Sefer Hamitzvot. So, what does it mean to believe in Hashem? It's really like something that you can't really do. It's kind of just is. And, it's almost like we're asking us to believe in Hashem. It's like asking a blind person to understand and what sunset is. Like, how on earth are we possibly supposed to believe in Hashem? It's so unfathomable for us, but we want to relate to him. We want to have a connection to him. So really the only way to do that is through faith, because what other connection can we have to him? And it's so fascinating because it's so natural, right? We're told it's an inheritance, faith, but even the entire world, it's like, the atheists claim that people have been brainwashed. It's not possible. It's because Hashem must be real, that people are gravitated towards it. However, when it comes to a mitzvah, it has to be something that we can do. So Rambam says the mitzvah is to believe in Hashem, but what's the action item here? And the action item is to know Hashem. So again, what does that mean? Is it even possible to know Hashem? Not fully, but to the best of our ability, learn whatever you can about Hashem. And of course, there is plenty of literature and plenty to learn. Chassidus very much deals with this, and it's endless. It's an endless pursuit. But the more knowledge we have of Hashem, how, even if it's so tiny, this will create a relationship which will nurture the faith, that innate faith that we have, and that's so important. And then here, the Rambam adds something very interesting. It says in Makos that there are 613 mitzvos, right? And how do we know this? Because it says, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, the Torah that Moshe taught us. Torah, the numerical value of Torah is, Taf is 400, Vav is 6, Resh is 200, and Hey is 5. What's the math of that? That comes to 611. What? I thought there's 613. So that this is in this pasuk is the answer. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Moshe from his mouth taught us 611. But there are 2 mitzvos that we actually heard directly straight from Hashem. And those were the first 2 dibros, the first 2 commandments. The one we just said, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Asher Atzicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. I am your God. This is the mitzvah to believe in God and to know God, to know him in order to believe in him. And then the first negative commandment, which we're about to do, is Lo yeh lecha elokim achirim, do not believe in anything else. So 611 were taught to us through Moshe's mouth, and 2 of them were taught to us through Hashem's mouth. And here together we have 613. Okay, so that was the first mitzvah. The next mitzvah is the first of the negative commandments, which is Hazhara she'izharnu milahamin u'liachis alakus l'zalasa yisala. And this we learned from the pasuk, Lo yeh lecha elohim achirim al panai, which again is from Shemos, the second commandment. In English, this means do not believe in any other deity besides for Hashem. There's no other power, there is no other God. Really, this doesn't need much elaboration. It is against the Torah to believe in any other force or power or God-likeness other than Hashem himself. Okay, next mitzvah is the second positive mitzvah. And this is the mitzvah, just like reading the Hebrew, which means this is the mitzvah to believe in the oneness of Hashem, specifically the oneness of Hashem. The pasuk that we learn from is Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Sometimes we say something so frequently and we don't even realize what we're saying. What are we declaring when we say Shema, which, as we know, is the tagline of Judaism? Shema Yisrael, listen Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem is our God. What does that mean? Hashem Echad, he is one. The oneness of Hashem, the unity of Hashem is a critical component, and believing in this and understanding this is is one of the main mitzvahs. So what does this mean? It's very interesting if you think about it, like, what does it mean, the unity of Hashem? So a lot of things have different pieces to them, right? Like you could say there's a house, there's one house, but there's all the different pieces to the house. There's the foundation, there's the walls, there's the furniture, there's the lighting, and then together they make a house. A lot of things that are one, even me, my body, I have one body, Devorah Wilhelm. There are so many pieces, there are so many parts, and they could be divided, and each of them has their thing. Everything that's part of Hashem is one with Hashem. So in other words, God created a world. Does that mean there's God and a world? No. God and the world are the same. Anything that God created, that God thinks of, that God says, that God brings into being is one and the same with him. So if God would cease to exist, so to speak, the world would cease to exist. And that's why there's, Chassidus talks about this a lot, and there's a lot of mashals, parables for this, that Hashem didn't create the world 5,783 and a half years ago and let it be. He constantly, actively creates the world every single moment of every single day, because again, the world and everything in it, me, you, every blade of grass, every human, every reality is one with Hashem, and it's impossible for anything to exist outside of that, so to speak. So that is what it means to believe in the oneness of Hashem and the unity of Hashem. And why is it so important to have this understanding, besides for the fact that it's the truth, is because when you have an understanding of this, then you realize it brings you to an awareness that Hashem is a constant. Hashem is everywhere. Hashem cares about everything. He's not one piece of our lives. He's everywhere. He's in the workplace. He's in our kitchen. He's also when we go to shul, also when we're in class, every part of our life, there's no such thing as Hashem not being a part of it. So like, I know if anything comes up in my life, of course, if it's a Torah halachic question, that's obvious. You go speak to the Torah about it in whatever form that comes to be. But in general, anything that's part of my life, this is a Hashem program. So what does Torah have to say? What do my mentors have to say, etc.? Sometimes, by the way, the Torah says, when you have a medical issue, go to a doctor. We go to a doctor because the Torah says, this is what you do. This is somebody that's trained, and you believe that Hashem's doing the healing, but through this person. Anyway, so today we did some very fundamental mitzvahs. Number one, believing in Hashem, which translates into action, into knowing Hashem to the best of our abilities. The next mitzvah is not believing in any other gods or any other powers other than Hashem. And finally, believing in and knowing the unity of Hashem. Thank you very much. Have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Erin. Good to see you, Iz.